Hello, my name is Casey O'Connor. Today I'm going to be discussing external factors affecting the business of the United Parcel Service, otherwise known as UPS. There are many external factors that can affect the bottom line of a business, so today we're just going to be looking at competition from within the industry and economic climate. In 2012, UPS held a 20% market share in the U.S. domestic small package courier market. This is the largest single company share. FedEx, who's their major competitor, had a 14% market share. The rest was divided among smaller private companies and local shipping companies. The international market was not quite as good in their favor, so they submitted an unsolicited bid in 2012 to purchase the Dutch company TNT Express. TNT Express had been part of the Dutch mail company PostNL, and since splitting with PostNL had seen a 30% decline in stock prices. So they had been ready for purchase for quite some time, and rumors were constantly circulating that they were being courted by UPS and FedEx. TNT remained silent and refused to comment. They did in 2012 confirm that UPS had submitted a purchase bid that they were considering. And in June of that year, UPS submitted paperwork to the Netherlands Authority for the Financial Market to purchase TNT Express for 5.16 billion euros, the equivalent of just over $6 billion US dollars. This was subject to approval by the AFM and by the European Commission. The European Commission raised some concerns that this merger would leave only 2 or 3 companies for shipping options throughout the European Union, which, in addition to the Netherlands, consisted of 15 countries. UPS did propose concessions. They submitted several proposals between November of 2012 and January of 2013. The most significant was an offer to sell off TNT Express's subsidiaries and distribute them throughout the remaining 15 European Union companies. In the end, the European Commission did not believe this was a viable option, and UPS was forced to back out of the deal. Because they had backed out of the deal, they did suffer a loss and had to pay TNT Express a fee of 200 million euros, or 245.7 million US dollars. When their bid for international expansion did not work, UPS turned to domestic expansion and announced in 2012 that they would also be challenging FedEx for their United States Postal Service contract. The contract is for 12 years. It was up in 2013. And it was for express and priority mail delivery between U.S. airports. FedEx had previously held the contract. They were, of course, rebidding, and UPS was hoping to snag a little bigger market share. In April of 2013, the United States Postal Service announced that they were awarding the contract to FedEx for $10.5 billion over 12 years. So not an immediate financial loss to UPS, it did represent $10 billion in lost revenue over that 12-year period. They did suffer a slight drop in the stock market at this point. Once the contract was announced, they saw a temporary 3% dip in stocks. So at this point, coming off the back of 2 very high-profile failed expansion attempts. That same year, there was also noted an emergence of what's called local small shipper networks that are becoming or have the potential to become a threat to UPS and FedEx alike. These small shipper networks are popular with online retailers because they don't have the same overhead that the larger companies do. They have smaller workforces, therefore they can offer a significantly reduced rate. and in some cases, their prices are up to 40% less than what the big companies can offer. At the moment, they have a 3% market share in the US. That's not troubling, apparently, to UPS at the time, but what is important to keep in mind is that their revenue of $1 billion in 2013 is nearly doubled from their reported revenue in 2009. The other big issue for UPS is the economic climate, which has been infamously on a down spiral these last couple of years. Well, the official end of the US Great Recession was in June of 2009. And in that year, UPS posted a dip of $6 billion in revenue, despite cutting costs $5 billion. So going into all of their expansion attempts, they're also facing this economic hardship. And as a matter of fact, the downturn in the global economy is part of the reason that they were prevented from expanding into TNT. None of those companies were viable. Since 2009, their long-term debt has increased, beginning from 8.6 to a peak of 11.1 billion in 2012, and back down to $10.8 billion today. So they are recovering, but the recovery is a very slow process. Now, in order to offset this slow recovery, they've taken several steps in addition to expansion. Their most noticeable step was in 2010-2011. They changed their very famous slogan, "What can Brown do for you?" to "We love logistics," in an effort to gain awareness of their additional product lines and services offered and try to bring in some of that market. The courier market is considered to be very sensitive to changes in the economy because it's an integral part of day-to-day commerce, especially in the US. As of 2013, UPS has 16.9 billion documents and packages that are delivered every day. So where a household income might see a dip and it's evident only over a long period of time, with companies like this, every up and down in the economy takes a serious toll. It's very noticeable. They have cut costs through temporary pilot furloughs, as well as union agreements, asking spouses to pay for health care if they're eligible through their own companies. The result is that UPS has managed to stay ahead of the economic downturn. Despite setbacks and lower returns, they have at least posted positive reviews and profit every year during this recession. And as of right now, they are still the largest single market share company in the courier business and show no signs of slowing down in the future. In all, despite their setbacks, they are a very strong company, and I would recommend them. Thank you for your time. Please contact me if you have any further questions.